What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're going to be talking about our unfortunate loss to the Western Bulldogs last night by 19 points in what was a pretty disappointing performance in the end from what could have been a setting up win for the season. It definitely changes the dynamic of how we go about things now, and the Bulldogs were just too good from the outset, and they really set the tone. You can see why. They are a top 4 side, and they're going to be absolutely in the mix this year for the flag. So let's review what was a pretty disappointing round 9 performance. It's a bit of a rinse and repeat, isn't it, for Port Adelaide at the moment, with playing top 8 sides. We're 1-3 at the moment, and a lot of us expected to be a top 4 side. A lot of us expected to be right in the mix, and at home against the Western Bulldogs. They're a good side, they're a quality side, and they've definitely shown why. They're one of the best this year. You'd expect us to come out and put in a performance that complement the compliments that we've been getting throughout the season, saying we're a contender, we're going to be there deep into finals, and I think we got shown up a bit again, and unfortunately, it's down to that 5-10% less pressure that we're putting on compared to the Dogs. Around the contest, the slow starts are starting to really hurt us now against these quality oppositions. I don't know what it is. It's definitely becoming a big question mark, and at the moment, if you're starting so slowly and then working your way back into the game, you're just going to burn yourself out, and I think that was a bit of that last night. There's many factors that did affect us throughout the evening. I thought from the get-go, obviously the midfield was slow in there, and I don't think we got first hands out of the contest, and we weren't able to supply a forward line. We got the first goal of the game, which was used through transition footy, which was outstanding to see. And I thought, oh, we're on. We're gonna kickstart this game. We're gonna have a fast start, and we're gonna really solidify our spot in this game. And we didn't do that. We basically closed the doors and we played quiet footy. I thought. We didn't really move the ball as well we'd like. We weren't pressurising the carry of the ball, and their hands were just so good around the contest. And credit to the Doggies, they were just exceptional out there. The likes of Trelaw, the likes of Dale, who was great, Liberatore in there, and McRae, Bontempelli, obviously. They were all sensational performers on the night, and I really think that they just contributed too much for us to handle in the end. So that was particularly the first quarter, and our defensive unit just wasn't holding up. We were a bit lazy, I thought, from their transition. We were sort of going one way, and I think after that we were just chasing our tails a bit, and we were lucky that Georgiades kicked a goal to get us back within 4 goals in the end. And it just stank of. You could tell it was going to be one of those nights. I thought we were going to get pumped, really. If it wasn't for the reassuring words from my dad saying, second quarters are the ones for us that we really pounce. And we did. We kicked 5 goals in 7 minutes of play. That was like vintage Port Adelaide. The pressure was immense. Contested footy was great. We were around the ground just moving well, and our ball use was exceptional. I don't think we've played a better 10 minutes of football this year. That's my opinion. I don't think if that 10 minutes of play was copied and pasted and showcased to the rest of the boys, and you pinpointed exactly what we did right in those situations, we didn't do a hell lot of wrong. Now, let me tell you, we were exceptional in those 10 minutes of footy, and that's the reason we got back into the game and got in front. Just our hunt for the footy was awesome, and I don't want to blame umpires. Now, this is the other point I want to make. I don't want to blame umpires, but it's not the free kick count for me. It's definitely not that. Yeah, we could win the free kick count. I'm not going to be satisfied with that. That's a useless stat. It's what they pay. It's the impact on the game that they have. And I think at the moment, you could pay 40, 50 free kicks in a game, and I reckon about 15 of those would be correct, because they are just pathetic excuses of decisions from umpires. And it's a contested game. It's a contested footy. All these little push in the backs are pointless. The tackle's dead. I'm telling you now, both sides had multiple tackles where they should have been rewarded, and this continues on right through to the other teams playing other games throughout this year. There's no reward for tackling anymore. There's no reward for the effort that the tackler goes through to get his opposition player and bring him to ground. There's so much prior opportunity that's not paid for holding the ball. And then incorrect disposal. A throw's legal now. I'm telling you, a throw is legal. They barely pay it. The umpires are in terrible positions. I don't know what they're learning. Umpire Nichols is by far one of the worst umpires in the game. I think he feels like he's got his own rules, because what I saw last night, and this is both sides, he was not paying anything that was actually connected to the rules. He was paying his own interpretations. And I'm all for umpires having their own interpretations. That could lead to a bit more leniency from others and a bit more strict from others. That's fine. But when you're coming up with your own interpretation that's got nothing to do with the rule, then that's umpire Nichols in a nutshell. And I'm ropeable at that, because he ruins every single game that he umpires. And I'm more than happy to stand by that claim. It's pathetic. It's shocking to see these types of calls in our game. Such a good game of footy last night. The Dogs were very good. We were coming, and just the timing of free kicks is just shit. Anyway, back to the game. I think the other thing that hurt us the most was efficiency going inside 50, which has been a story for years now. The workload of Georgiadis is too much. He's still a young kid, and I feel like that he's just... he was our best forward last night. He's presenting well, he's leading well, he's in good positions, but we can't be relying on such a young kid to be taking the brunt for us, and we're putting Charlie Dixon in the ruck. Last night would have been a perfect opportunity to play Hayes, and you know what? Now you could probably play both. We played well with two ruckmen last year. I thought it worked well. We were great in tight, and Laddams brings a whole different dynamic because he's able to get his own footy and ground ball and works quite well. And I thought he was okay, but I think last night you could bring in a Hayes against, and Sweet was a big ruckman. He outbodied Laddams quite well, gave the Dogs first use, and then Charlie Dixon, when he was in there, the bigger body, he's bigger than Laddams. He was dominating when he was in there, and we don't want Charlie Dixon playing in the ruck. He's a great ruckman. We know that. He dominates in the body. He's great around the ground. But we need him up forward because he creates a contest. And that was perfectly executed in the second and last quarter, where he kicked 2 goals, but he also set up a few as well. And that's what we need. That's what we need from Charlie Dixon. And we can't be putting him in the ruck, which leaves me to say that Hayes and Laddams at the moment, with life set out, probably can play a duo. Give him a go. Grundy's not that great at the moment. We can play him next week, and I reckon he'd work. Which means Todd Marshall comes out of the side. Now, I know a lot of people have said, every time we lose, Todd Marshall's the whipping boy. If you watched last night, and you tell me that he didn't perform at a level that we expect now, then I think you were watching a different game of football. A lot of the times, so he had 5 marks for the night, but they weren't contested. They were lead up play, he's great at leading up. He's great. He's good with his feet, so he's good when he's got the ball. But he's just, it's no game sense he's smart with the footy in some occasions, but others he's just, like last night, the perfect situation is he's taken a mark. He's 5 metres out on the boundary, a simple snap. But he goes inboard, misses the kick completely, and they go down the other end. Norton kicks a goal, and instead of being within a goal, we're 18 points down. That sets the tone for everything. And I talk about the first quarter. Laddams going back with a flight, a chest mark that he probably should take, drops it. And we end up 5 goals down. We're chasing our tails all night. And Todd Marshall again, third quarter. As I said, the snap. You got to be selfish as a forward. Take those opportunities. And if you miss, you miss. But I'd rather us miss having a chance at goal than screwing up in a little cheap kick inside and costing us, probably what was the game in the end, because we just couldn't get back far enough and back into the contest. And it's frustrating. At the moment we're 6-3. there's a lot of faith. I still had a lot of faith we can get it right, and in the back end of the year we'll click. And I hope that's the case. We've got a pretty favourable draw the next 2 weeks, Collingwood and Fremantle. We get those wins. We go into the bye, we refresh, we reset, and hopefully get a few players back on the way, because unfortunately Tom Cleary's out now, probably with a broken jaw, which means an opportunity comes for, say, Mackenzie or a Leanett to come in. There's too many passengers still, and I think the effects of these injuries are starting to take its toll, because the players we're bringing in are just not quite at the peak level we're expecting. Or maybe we just have too high expectations now as a football club, and we just got to be accepting of the fact that we're actually where we're at, and that's 5th. We're not quite a top 4 side at the moment, and we need to be better. And hopefully we get it right, because there's a lot of faith from the supporters at the moment, and we don't want what we got a couple of years ago, where we have to lose that faith and start to question everything. We don't want that. We don't want negative. We need to stay positive. But it's time that we start opening up our eyes a bit, because we need to accept where we're at. And the only way we're going to get better is pinpointing these disappointing losses and what we need to improve. And we know what we need to improve. And we just need to get it right, and fast. Look, I could talk for many more minutes, but I think it's pretty simple. Last night explains itself, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts on last night's game. Where are we at? I asked this question a couple of weeks against the Lions. We did get the showdown win, but we're still in the same position, and we need to figure this one out and improve. Go into the bye. Don't lose the next 2 weeks. Come out against Geelong and make a statement. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give a comment, as I said, about last night's game, what we need to do to improve. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content. If you're new, welcome to the Pear family. So we'll see you soon. My name is Anthony, and as always, come the Pear.